You're watching Moms Matter. I'm your host, Shirin Yadigar, and I am sitting next to a real Wonder Woman today in the studio. Josephine Atler is a mother of 7. Yes, you heard me, a mother of 7. And she is a life coach and an expert in mindfulness and truly just trying to make the world better with joy. So thank you for being here because we need your voice now more than ever.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited for our conversation, Sharon.
I am too. I'm in awe of you. 7 children. Okay. That's incredible. And you're a mindful coach. How do you prioritize yourself? Because that's what you're preaching, right? Prioritize yourself and your mental health. But how do you do that with 7 children?
That's a great question. I joke that it was because of the kids that I had to find this inner peace. My aha moment was when I was working and I had our boys who are now 7, and I realized I was working from home, but I was spending time with them. But at the end of the day, I couldn't remember what I actually did with them. And that's what led me on this journey to find calm amidst the chaos, is what I call it. And for myself, it really is about leading a mindful lifestyle. So not just saying that I meditate here and there or every day or whatever, but if you think about it as a lifestyle where that's the foundation for everything that you do, it really is about awareness. So when you say mindful, it's being present and being aware of yourself, of your environment, of your interaction with other people. And so having mindfulness as my foundation, that's when I'm able to tune in and be aware of how I'm feeling, what I need in this moment, my interactions with my kids, and how to prioritize myself.
So mindful, I feel like that word, we hear that so much, and sometimes I don't really understand what it means. Like when you say being mindful of where you are and what you're doing, what do you mean?
Right. Yes, we do throw the word around. It's
Right.
become like this really catchy phrase. And as I mentioned, it comes down to awareness. So being aware of how you're feeling in the moment, being aware when you wake up in the morning, how am I feeling today? Every day we feel different.
Right.
Every hour we feel different throughout a day. And just constantly checking in with ourselves of what we need in the moment, how the other people around us, how we're interacting with them, how we're caring for them, if there's someone that we need to take care of, and using that information to be able to come up with the right actions. So I call it responding to life, which is the name of my podcast, versus reacting. When you're not in tune and in line with awareness, then you're constantly just reacting emotionally, using past responses and things like that, versus really being thoughtful, taking a pause in your day, taking a pause in the moment to make an informed decision and choice and action.
I love that because you're right. Like we don't want to be reactive. That's the worst way to be, right? And so if we're grounded, then we won't be reactive. So I'm curious to know with 7 kids, how do you start your day in the morning? Like there's so much to be done with breakfasts and lunch and waking everyone up and getting them going. Like, do you have a practice for yourself in the morning?
Well, one of the things about being mindful is being really true to yourself. And so it's constantly being aware of like, what are my habits and what's right for me? I am not a morning person. I've tried this. It just doesn't work. My husband's great at it. I'm a night person. So for me, I tried to wake up like an hour beforehand. It just wasn't happening for me. It didn't make me happy. I wake up when I have 2-year-old twins. So when they wake me up, which is always super early, that's when my day starts. And then from there, it's this organized chaos. Everyone kind of knows what they need to do. So I'm just there sort of pushing people gently into if they get off track. And the morning is just pure chaos. I actually was going to post a little snippet that I took of it on Instagram later today because you'll see a lot of commotion, but things are happening because everyone knows what they need to do. And then there's my presence. I try to have this calm, grounding presence for everyone because they feed off of that, right?
Sure.
We feed off of each other's energies.
Sure.
And so if I'm feeling erratic and showing that, then it translates into my kids and how they start off their day. So I try to always have a smile on my face and just, be positive and allow them to remember that they have their strengths and they know what to do. And if they need me, I'm right there.
Right. Oh, I love that. I love that you're so honest and that you don't say that you wake up at 5 a.m. and do your meditation to start your day, because you're like, no, it's organized chaos.
Yeah.
And your twins wake you up and you just go with it because you're not a morning person.
Yeah.
So you get everyone off and they go to school. Well,
Yeah.
not all of them, because you have little ones.
Right, the little ones, yes. Yeah.
When do you find the time for yourself? I mean, I think that's the biggest struggle for moms, right? Is for us to find time for ourselves to really do what serves us, so then we can be more present for them. Because I have a very hard time being present for my children when there's so much chaos in my mind.
Right, yes. Yeah, exactly. So for me, what works for me is once the kids are off in school and the little ones are with their nanny, then I used to call it carpool meditation, because I would meditate in my minivan the moment I dropped off the last one. And that would be my chance to reset from the morning. You know, it's a different energy that you have when you're trying to get your whole family out versus when you have to transition into like work mode,
For
right?
sure.
Or even going back home and taking care of the things that you need to at home. It's a different mindset. So I always like to reset. And for me, having that meditation, whether it's 5 to 15 minutes in the car, it's my alone time, I just feel like I'm ready to take on the day. And we have so many moments like that throughout our day. So from the time that you have to pick up your kids, or the time that you step from your car into your home and they're already at home, you have these little brief moments where you can reset your mind and transition into that new space that you need to be in. And no one's pushing you out the door. No one's forcing you to like get in. It's sort of this internal thing that we have for ourselves. So if we can take a moment to pause, maybe do some deep breathing, just like a minute is all you really need to reset your mind. And then you can walk in feeling more grounded and less caught up in all of that noise, so that you can start fresh, as you were saying in your example, with your kids, and not get so caught up in
I
all
love
of
that. No, I love that you say to take an opportunity, even of just opening the door, that moment to like pause of when you're opening the door to get out of the car. Like, we're rushing all the time as moms, right? We're just trying to get through the acts of like one to the next to get dinner on the table. But if you're pausing for a moment and you're mindful of that space, then it's an opportunity to breathe and to relieve all of that, which I think is so important. I think the work you're doing is incredible and exceptional. And how do you translate that to your children? Like, because we take care of ourselves and we try and get ourselves grounded. And then how do we teach that to our children without them being like, Mom, you're so annoying?
Right. Well, I get that too. But I have kids from ages 2 to 17. So it looks different in the way that I teach mindfulness to them. So for example, with my 7-year-olds, I will model deep breathing, and I'll get these winning moments where I'll see, for example, one of my 7-year-olds who is trying to build a Lego, getting really frustrated, and just started to breathe slowly and loudly as they were trying to work through it. And so for me, that was a win, because you know, they were able to utilize a tool and a strategy in that moment.
Love that.
They asked me to do like my little chimes and my rain thing at night and stuff, and meditate with them. With the older ones, like for example, I have a 14-year-old son, not into this at all. Really scientific, like his dad. And so, but there is a win here, because I've taught them how to appreciate the moment and nature. Nature can be so grounding. Like, that's one of the tips I always give to people when they're getting like overwhelmed with all the news and just everything that's available to us nowadays. If you can get out in nature, I mean, even out here, we're in the middle of the city, but if you can get out, look up into the sky, look at a tree or something, it reminds you that you're not as big as all these problems out there. You're part of something that's bigger, and it introduces that awe and wonder that can be really resetting for your nervous system. But anyway, with my 14-year-old, now he goes on sunset walks, and he'll point out, like, look at that sunset, or look at the beach, because we live close to the beach, and we're like, it's gorgeous today. And so even little things like that, where he'll appreciate things in nature, that is that's being aware of your environment, right?
That is,
Yeah. And
that's extraordinary.
Yeah,
And
it is.
what about your 17-year-old?
My 17-year-old, yes. So that he's a hard one, but we've been working with him for a long time. One of my favorite tools is affirmations and self-talk, positive self-talk. And for him, with his confidence, it was really low, like during your prepubescent years, and we worked really hard with him on using these affirmations and positive self-talk. And now the kid is just totally into all his muscles. He's going to be so embarrassed about this, but totally into his muscles and stuff. But, he also is in tune with his emotions. So he'll know, like, upon occasion, he'll ask me to sit with him and just breathe. Or even when it's not that, just to sit with him and listen and know that I'm a safe space for him to be able to speak about his feelings, because in that moment he's being aware of himself, right? He knows what he needs, and he needs a sounding board. So those are all different examples that don't necessarily require me to be teaching, like forcing and forcing. We need to meditate this many times a day, but it just translates differently for each kid and each household.
Yeah, no, definitely. I love what you say about affirmations. Can you give us an example, like for mamas who are watching, on how we could implement that with our children at home? Like, what type of affirmations? How do you even start that? Like, what do you say to your kids?
Yeah. So an affirmation is like an I am statement. It's a positive statement that you can either already believe and just use it to fortify and sort of give you energy and empower you, or it can be something that you're striving towards, that you don't necessarily believe in this moment, but that you want to start implementing in your own life. So for example, with myself, when I was using it, or with my son, it would be, we'd think about, what is it that I'm missing or that I want to remember about myself? And we even do it at Shiro's Rise, where we know each other. The girls have, in that program, they've used affirmations. They've written out affirmations for myself. So really good ones would be, I'm worthy of love. I am abundant. I'm powerful. I'm strong. I'm courageous. And it would be something like writing it on a sticky note and putting it on your mirror. Or with kids these days, they're always on their phone. So making a screensaver and having that pop up, and that would be a reminder to say that affirmation to themselves, or even just read it because it's right there, right? So those are ways that I do it. Or I'll just email it to myself and it's there, or put it in my Google Calendar and it'll pop up and I'll say my affirmation at a certain time. So all these different hacks.
I love it. No, I love it, because then you can get into the habit of doing it when you're feeling down. I mean, like I was talking about this with you before, for us mamas who have college students, and super volatile right now, tensions are high, and our kids are calling us and they're upset and they're down. And I would love to say, hey, look in the mirror and like tell yourself you're strong, and you can do this, and you can fight through this. And I try and tell them to breathe. I don't think they're listening. What is your advice to moms who are not able to hold and coddle and help their children when they're going through high anxiety, which is happening all over the country right now?
Right. No, it is tough, the environment that our kids are growing up in, for sure. And it's equally as tough as parents, because we want to do so much for them. We want to envelop them in this safe bubble, but we can't do it, especially, as you were saying, for kids who are far away, right? I think what I've found, at least in my own experience, it's different for everyone, but providing that safe space for listening, believe me, I don't get it right all the time, but just providing that opportunity for them to share with us, I think it can be such a powerful thing for them, because they know that they can always go to us. And so, we can try to push the deep breathing, but they won't necessarily hear it in the heart of the moment, right? And so in the heat of the moment, when they are really feeling the anxiety and all of the chaos and overwhelm, they just need to release it and let go. And they have friends, but it's great to just have another outlet and that could be you, each of us, the moms out there. And then when they feel a little bit more grounded, to provide them with options for different things that they can do, whether that is a deep breathing exercise, whether that's going to therapy, whatever it may be, right? But just reminding them that they have all these things and that you're there to help them out with it if they need to get going in a certain direction.
So be a place where they feel safe, listen to them, validate them, and then after you've done that, then you can offer different techniques, which I would love if you don't mind sharing with us, maybe one of your quick breathing exercises or what you do for yourself or what you do with your children as a way of kind of just calming everything down.
Yeah. I have a number of them, but I think my favorite one, especially in this day and age, is a letting go breath. And so in that instance, you're breathing in, say you're breathing in for a count of 4 seconds. So you breathe in, and then you exhale for a longer amount of time, let's say 6 seconds. And then you repeat it, and if you can go for double, great, like 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out. But what I like to do is pair it with a phrase that I'm saying. I could say it before or in my mind, repeating it as I'm doing this. And you can state what you're letting go of in that moment. Like imagining that as you're breathing out, you are releasing that which no longer serves you, that which is weighing you down, that you do not need to carry in this moment. And so, for example, if I'm feeling really stressed out because of a work project, I can breathe in, counting to 4, and then as I breathe out, say in my head, I am letting go of this stress. I do not need to carry it. You can even also pair it at the end with saying what instead you want to call in, but you don't need to necessarily do that. But I just find the act of releasing and breathing out and stating what it is that I want to release to be very therapeutic. But also there's science behind it about slowing down your breath and how it's, affecting your sympathetic nervous system, and it's transitioning you from fight or flight into rest and digest. And that's all triggered by that slow breath because you're telling your brain that, you're calming down. Like we do not need to be in this sort of stressed state, right? Your life is not in danger.
Right. And that's so important, is that we don't need to stay in this uncomfortable space, which is what you teach. And you have these amazing breathwork seminars and classes. And I'm so sad that I missed the last one. I'm like dying to take this class. How do people find out about your seminars? How do people connect with you and learn more about getting engaged with the great work that you're doing?
Yes. My website is jatluri.com. So J@Lurie, and you can also find me on Instagram at Josephine R. Atler.
All right.
And I also have a podcast, Responding to Life. You'll be a guest on it soon. It's about women's health, fertility, and parenthood. And you can just connect me. Oh, I also have 2 books. I have a book
I just happen to have 7 children and 2 books.
A mindfulness journal for parents, and then 5-minute mindfulness for pregnancy. And all of them offer different strategies and tools that you can use for yourself as a parent, with your kids, and also while you're conceiving your child. So
I mean, you're really incredible. That proof in the pudding. I mean, you have 7, you're happily married, you've written books, and you have a podcast, and you're a working mom, and you really walked into the studio right now with such a calm energy to you. So you're living what you're preaching, which is such a beautiful thing. Will you share with us before we leave just one bit of something uplifting or something you want to share, advice for all the mamas who are watching on how we can kind of live a better, more peaceful way of life?
Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, I would want to throw so many at the moms listening, right? But I think one of the biggest things is to give ourselves grace as parents. Grace, and that for me goes hand in hand with flexibility. So, we're really hard on ourselves, right? I mean, the moment you walk into a school and you see what other moms are doing, or you get onto these chats and see what everyone else is doing, what you're not doing because of XYZ, we're immediately so hard on ourselves, right? And I don't know about you, but teenagers can be really rough, and they reminded me as well of how I'm lacking in this and that and whatever. And so I just have to constantly remind myself that I'm doing the best that I can, and that I need to give myself grace as a human being. And I do that for other people so easily that I need to be able to do it easily for myself. And with the flexibility, just remembering that, not everything has to be perfect, and that, maybe one day I'm able to get it right in this way, in the way I thought, but maybe the next day it's something different, and that's okay. Everything is perfectly okay, and we're doing the best that we can. So
I love that. Love
yeah,
that.
that
Give
would be my
yourself some
advice.
grace. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My
I
pleasure.
can't wait to take your class, and it's a great podcast. I can't wait to be on it. So thank you for joining us, taking the time today. And you saw it right here on Moms Matter. We'll see you guys next time.